Hey guys, Phantom here, and today I'm going to be sharing my first impressions of the Infinite Warfare beta. So the beta is done on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I played both weekends. I played a little bit less the second weekend just because I didn't really care to play it anymore. I'd rather level up when it actually comes out. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to mention is it's more boots on the ground than we're used to if you compare it to like Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3. It doesn't have the crazy movement system of Advanced Warfare. It's more like Black Ops 3 but dumbed down. Now, the wall running isn't that great. I had a few accidents with that because the maps just aren't made for it. And not only that, the boost jumping, it refills fast, but it's like slower. It's not as fast as we're used to. So we'll see what happens there. And the next thing we're going to talk about is weapon variants. Weapon variants are back, but it's a little bit better. So you can earn weapon variants. It's kind of hard and you got to put a lot of time into it, especially in like the beta. Like, to even get like one epic weapon, you had to grind the whole time just to get one. And they actually tuned it up so you would be able to get them faster, and they're going to tune it back down when the actual game comes out. So you're going to have to put a lot of time into it, which is going to kind of suck. But at the same time, at least you don't have to just pay money to be able to get these things. You can actually earn them in the game. Like, there's no random chance. Like in Black Ops 3, you could get them by playing the game with your crypto keys, but your chances were super low, super low. I remember times when I had like 1,000 crypto keys saved up and I didn't get anything, nothing. And you think 1,000, that's like a couple months of playing, maybe, unless you play a bunch within a week, maybe 3 weeks, maybe at tops. So you can earn them, and that's actually a pretty good thing. So that's kind of cool. And not only that, so you can earn them that way as well, but you can also level up. There's like team factions in here. And so you can level those up and you can actually earn variants that way as well. Each one will have like a certain gun and you can get all 4 of the variants that way. The next thing is they changed dead silence a little bit. One of the things that I had always talked about was since they introduced the boosting, they were pushing this on people so hard. But my thing was, if you're going to push it on somebody, why have it have a negative effect? And the negative effect was when you would boost, it would be super loud and it would show up on the map. Now, obviously, if you're boosting around a whole bunch, that gives you an advantage, and they kind of wanted to even out the playing field a little bit, so they added in, you know, the blast suppressor. Well, it was kind of stupid because you'd have to run 2 perks, and I thought that was just really shitty when you're trying to push this onto people. So now they've actually put dead silence and blast suppressor into 1 perk, which is really cool, and I appreciate that. That's something I'd been asking for, and they did exactly that, so that's cool. The next thing I want to talk about is Ghost. They actually changed that as well. It's kind of like a positive negative thing with Ghost, because in the alpha build that I had seen, Ghost was you had to be running the entire time for it to work. You couldn't just be moving, you actually had to be sprinting, which was really stupid. That's just forcing you to move around way too much, and honestly in Black Ops 3 I thought it was fine the way it was. All you had to do was be moving for it to work, and I'm like, that's fine. It shows up on the little mini-map, which is actually pretty cool if you don't know this. When you have Ghost on and you're actually moving, your thing will go like invisible. It'll be like darker than it usually is. It'll be like a gray instead of a yellow when it's actually working. And then that means you're off the map. Now, they changed it. They went from one extreme to the next. So instead of just having to sprint the whole time, they changed it back to the normal OP Ghost, as everybody calls it, where you can literally sit in a corner and you're not going to show up on the map. Which, you know, I'm not going to complain about. It is what it is. Maybe they'll change it back for a 3rd time. They might. I know people were bitching about it. I don't think it's honestly that big of a deal because for me, I usually play Search and Destroy, so I don't have to worry about UAVs that much. And if somebody does get one, I usually just run around because I got Ghost on, and then I get up in their spawn and get behind them. So hopefully they change it back to the Black Ops 3 way. That's my favorite way, and I think that's the fairest for everybody. We'll see what they do. The next thing, the guns seemed mostly balanced. I had an extremely hard time picking out one specific gun or one specific gun type that was more powerful than the other. You'll hear a lot of people say, well, this game's like SMG dominant or assault rifle dominant. The only one that's the exception is the sniper rifles. They're definitely good, and I think the main reason behind that is there's so little weapon sway on sniper rifles that the handling is so easy, and I think that's what makes them so good. I don't think they're any better than the snipers in Black Ops 3. The Black Ops 3 ones are actually extremely powerful. It's just the big difference is there's not a lot of weapon sway and the handling is a lot easier, and that's the biggest thing that makes them so much better. So yeah, I couldn't pick out like one gun. I'd used like pretty much every gun in the game. I didn't really touch LMGs. Those weren't that great, I can tell you that. Shotguns usually aren't that great since Modern Warfare 2. I think they've just been crap. The guns I ended up liking the most were the Karma. The ERAD was okay. The FHR was decent, but it felt really weak. And then the K-Bar. Now, I know a lot of people use that NV4 for the nuke, but I didn't really think that was a good one. It's kind of like an ICR type gun. You get the epic variant that has infinite range, it might be okay. But For the most part, those are probably the 3 weapons I'd say are probably the best in the game, and then obviously the snipers. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the classic weapons. They're going to be adding in guns from old Call of Duties, and the way that'll work is you prestige, you get a classic weapon unlock token, and then you're going to use that to be able to unlock weapons from the Call of Duty's past. So that'll be pretty sweet. I'm super excited for that, and let's go ahead and talk about the cons here. The biggest thing is the light comp. It is extremely apparent, and it's one of the reasons why, like, why does this feel so weird from playing Black Ops 3? And I know, like, Advanced Warfare changed a lot of that stuff too, because that's why part of the reason why that game felt so weird. But, like, there'll be a lot of times when you're shooting at somebody and you'll put, like, it'll seem like 4 to 6 shots in them, and you'll kill you in like 3 bullets, and you watch the kill cam and you're like, it looks normal. It's like, what the hell? How did it feel like that? And what it is, it's like they're shooting their bullets, but they're not registering right away, and they all hit you at like the same time. So it feels like they're melting you, when in reality, that's not how it's happening. So it gives the game a really weird feel, and I hope they tune that down a bit. I know they had a problem with lag comp in another game, and they took it away, or they changed it, or practically turned it off, and it made the game way better. So, you know, hopefully the beta helps out with that. And I know a lot of people are complaining about how bad the game is, but you gotta understand at the same time, they're like the changes that they could do to multiplayer, like, oh well, the game's done, the game's done. Well, that's fine, but the changes they can do can change multiplayer significantly. Like changing a perk, you can change the lag comp, you can change the guns. There's a lot of stuff they can change to make it better. And honestly, the feel of the game is the biggest thing. You know, you have all these extra things that are annoying, but at the core, they could do so much. They could take away things, they could add things. There's so much they can do. And if you guys remember from the Black Ops 3 beta, they actually changed a lot of stuff. That felt extremely different from the normal game. It was almost like you were playing a different game. It just felt so different. I know they buffed and nerfed a lot of different things, and they changed a bunch of the streaks and stuff like that. So it made a big difference there. So I'm totally willing to give this game another shot and on launch day, and we'll see what happens. I'm not going to throw it out the window yet. I'm going to give it another chance. You know, if worse comes to worse, there's always Modern Warfare Remastered, so there's that. The other thing is, the guns felt kind of weak to me. Now, I know people were saying, oh, well, it's a really fast-paced game, the weapons melt, but at the same time, like, when I would use them, and this might be a lag comp thing, they just felt like I was shooting a ton of bullets into somebody. It could have just been some of the guns I was using, but it just felt, like I said, the whole experience just felt weird to me. It didn't feel like I was playing Call of Duty. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is the specialist. So, if you compare the specialist or the rigs in this game to the ones of Black Ops 3, the easiest way for me to explain it, and I was telling this to Quake Show, the specialists, they don't have any like backstory. You don't really care about them, and part of the reason why is a lot of them look kind of the same. Like, you can't really tell them apart. You know, they don't have any character, so you don't really care about them that much. I mean, yeah, you can tell like when you're getting shot at by like a little equalizer or the claw or something, you know what they have, but if they're not using their ability or they're not the robot, you're not going to be able to tell. So it's kind of like nobody cares when anybody's using until it's too late and you're already dead. So that's kind of a thing with that. They need to make it some way where you can tell like what they're actually using, what they kind of have. And there's a bunch of things with that because there's so many different perks and abilities that you can get on a specialist. Like, it's not just the weapon. You can actually have a weapon and an ability at the same time, which makes them super overpowered. It's almost like having like an extra perk on your guy. And some of them are really powerful. Some of them will help you regen your boost or regen your health or stop other players from healing. There's some crazy stuff like that in there. And it's been pretty good. So I'm assuming they're going to be nerfing or buffing a few of those things. Some of them were pretty bad, and some of them were really powerful. So we'll see what happens with that. I know that was one of the things they were planning on looking at. So if we go on to the next thing we're going to talk about here, the perks. Man. Okay, so the perks are really weak in this game. I was looking through the perk list, and I'm like, I didn't even care to like use anything. I think like maybe Ghost, Dead Silence, and I don't know. I mean, honestly, oh, and Dexterity. Okay, the sleight of hand one. Those are the best 3 ones, honestly, in the game. And if I'm playing like Search and Destroy like I normally do, I would just use those 3 and nothing else. I don't think a perk like there's a hardwired in the game, but it's not as good because not everybody was using trip mines and stuff like that. It's not as big of a deal in this game, so I don't think a lot of people are going to be using that. Which, so we'll see what happens. I think they need to be buffed or changed a little bit, and I'm sure they're going to be doing that as well. And then another thing I wanted to talk about was the footsteps. Now, I know a lot of people were bitching in Black Ops 3 about everybody using awareness and it's overpowered, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was awareness in the alpha build, and it was actually bundled with another perk. I think it was Sit Rep. I think they have that back in here. but they actually took it out and awareness is gone, which is a good thing. The main reason in Black Ops 3 why I hated awareness is because it was a crutch perk. Now, it's a little bit different because here's how I imagine it. So, if another player is using awareness and you're not, you're at a disadvantage. So, you know, yeah, if you're a good player, you might be able to kill them, but that gives them a super huge advantage. Now, think about it. If they have awareness on and you're both running and they hear you coming, they can get behind cover and get ready to kill you before you even know what's happening. Now, that's a huge advantage. I mean, if you have that, chances are you're going to kill the person almost every time. Plus, you could sit in a corner and sound horde people. It was super OP. So that's why you needed to have that yourself if you were going to be using it to kind of counter that. It was the only real thing that countered awareness. And I also think it's bullshit. I'm fine with awareness, but you need to have it to where you can't hear people with dead silence. I think that's the only fair way. Now, I know they want dead silence to have a counter, but now they've completely taken it out, so what's the point at all? You know what I mean? I think that would be fine to punish people who don't wear dead silence in games like Search and Destroy if you have an awareness, but I think it's just best to just take it out completely, and I'm happy they did that. I think a lot of people will be. So, you know, you should still be able to hear footsteps though. I understand dead silence, fine, but if they don't have it, you should be able to hear it. And you know, that's a big part of Call of Duty. There's a lot of things like map knowledge, gun skill, and you know, things like hearing footsteps that make a good player good. And that's one of the things that's been in the game since the beginning, and I think they need to keep. So they need to tune that up a little bit if you're not using dead silence, and I think that's only fair. And you know, it really only affects it in game modes like Search and Destroy. If you're playing something like Dom or TDM, most people don't even wear dead silence. For me, the main reason why I actually use it is because I hate hearing my own footsteps and it's annoying. So usually that's why I put it on. The next thing I want to talk about is the grenades. And oh man, these things were annoying as hell. I don't know how many times I got killed by some kind of freaking explosive, or I was getting hit by a cryo mine that would freeze me forever. And the sad thing is I didn't even get hit by maybe one, like concussion or flash, like nobody had them. And I don't even think there's regular frag grenades, there's just all these crazy ones. I don't think anybody had the black hole one unlocked, but I know people were bitching about that one too. And I think those can all be tuned down and nerfed a little bit, and people are like, that doesn't even need to be in the game, blah 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 blah. You know, it's in the game, you gotta deal with it. I don't think, if they nerf some of the grenades, I think it'll be fine. I know there's like the blast shield that they have for Infinity War games, and that usually is pretty powerful. I know a lot of people use that, and I think in this game, especially in games like TDM and Domination and stuff like that, objective type game modes, people are going to be using a ton of grenades unless they nerf them, so that might be a really good perk as well. So you can add that onto the ones that I said were probably pretty good. So you have Dexterity, Ghost, Dead Silence, and maybe Blast Shield. That's about it. So we'll see what they do with the grenades. The other thing, snipers are extremely powerful. We touched on that a little bit. Like I said, they're already going to be looking into it. They're going to be adjusting the sway and also the handling speeds and stuff like that. Now I think the snipers shoot pretty slow, and the longbow, it's really weird. So it's kind of like how in Battlefield where you have to unscope to actually pull the bolt back, but it does it automatically in this game, so it breaks your sight. But people were still getting mad triple kills. I remember one game, I got a triple kill, the enemy got a triple kill, and then I got like a collat like right after. So it's just this crazy feed, snipers all over the place. And, you know, you can tell a lot of people were using snipers, and I feel like it's because the other guns felt weak in comparison when you could just one-shot somebody every single time. The quick-scoping was really good. And the weird thing is they said there wasn't going to be quick-scoping, but it's definitely in there, and I got some sweet clips, let me tell you.
So I'm going to use a sniper if you want to get on.
Enemy has A.
And that's about it for the cons. I'm sure there's probably a ton of stuff I missed, but those are like some of the main things I felt were holding it back, and they do have a lot of other stuff to work on as well. And one cool little tidbit, I noticed people were complaining about the weapon variants, and I want to touch on that real quick. So this is going to be another con. The weapon variants, even though they're in the game, I said, you know, you can unlock them and stuff like that. It is disappointing. I think it's stupid that they have them. And realistically, the only reason they have them is it's a money grab for supply drops, and that's about it. And I think they realized that people were getting pissed off about those, so they had to do something. So that's why they allow you to kind of unlock them and be able to actually earn them without random chance. So, you know, it's up and down there. I think some of them might be nerfed, some of them might be buffed. We'll see what happens with that. I was really pissed when they had those in Infinite Warfare. I never got a single good one, so I think I stopped playing that game at like 3rd or 5th Prestige maybe. Yeah, I didn't play very long. It was just a couple months in. And I was reading some of the feedback from some of the people talking about weapon variants, and a lot of them are really powerful. You have like the one that I was saying with infinite range, you have one's double kills re-heal you and stuff like that, and people were saying, well, you know, you probably wouldn't have done this if you knew they had this gun, so how are you supposed to know? And there's really no good way to do that. I don't even think they did it anyway in Advanced Warfare, unless you get killed. Now, I know in the kill feed, they were saying, so take this scenario. You see 2 people get killed, and you think, hey, he's got to be reloading his gun, but he might have a gun that has a perk on it that allows him to reload faster, or like instantly reload his mag on a double kill, so you don't want to run in there. Well, how are you supposed to know? Well, actually, there is a way to know, but it requires a lot of knowledge. So in the kill feed, you'll see the gun. So if you know the gun, and you know the rarity type, it actually shows a little bar underneath the gun in the kill cam, or not the kill cam, I'm sorry, the kill feed, and it'll actually be the colors of the rarity. So if you look down there and you see the gun and you see the rarity, and you know what that gun is with that rarity, and you know what perks it has, then you can actually know. Now obviously that requires a lot of thinking and knowledge about every single gun in the game, and it's not very, you know, easy to like pick out during the game. I mean, in a fast-paced game like Call of Duty, but if you know they're like sitting back there camping and they just got a double kill, you kind of know what's going on if you pay attention to that. And it's just something that some of the more people who actually care about that stuff are going to be able to pick up, and that's going to add on to something else that's going to make you a better player in this game. And I think it's kind of cool they added that in. Now, I also think it's stupid because, you know, that's a lot of thinking, and you like knowing every single gun. There's so many, you know, let's say you have 30 guns times 4, that's 120 different things that you have to know about each individual gun, and each of them have 2 different things, and blah, 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 blah. So, it's a lot to pay attention to, but it's there if you look for it. And that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of the game. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you want to give it another chance? Or you're just going to go to Battlefield 1? What are you doing? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.